Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Today I'm going to review a cigar that is typically out this time of year. You see them around Christmas. Today being the day after Christmas, we'll be reviewing the rare but very flavorful Fuente Anejo number 48. It's 7 by 48. As you can see, it's a nice thin Churchill. 48 ring gauge. It is densely packed. This cigar has been compared to the Opus X, rightfully so, since it has the same binder and filler as the Opus X, but it uses a nice dark chocolatey Connecticut, broadleaf Connecticut wrapper. Now, this cigar, when you pick it up at the store, will come with this cedar sleeve. The red ring around the foot designates it as the Añejo. Slide the sleeve off, and you're left with this. Now, if you look closely, you can see the word Añejo right at the base of the Fuente band. So we're going to get right to it. This should be a really good cigar. I have reviewed it previously back in January of this year. Great draw there. Little piece of tobacco in my mouth. So, let's get right to it. Let's don't even wait around. As I said, I did do a blog review on this cigar, but I did not do a video review. So, this cigar was actually sent to me by cigarsdirect.com asking me to review it. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, initially what you're going to get is a lot of pepper, coffee, almost a sweet molasses flavor, maybe some mixed in vanilla notes. Pepper is very nice, very thick. The cigar is going to take a minute or two to calm down, but it starts out right away. You can tell this is going to be a full-bodied cigar. So let's give it a minute. Let it sit there, come into its own, and we'll be right back. Well, we've just basically gotten started, but about a quarter, half inch in, and the cigar is somewhat settled down. The only really difference I can tell now is that in the middle of the coffee and sweet molasses notes, there's now maybe some leather notes. This is a very dark cigar, both in flavors and in color. The flavors are all dark: molasses, coffee, leather. I'll count that as dark. But the pepper surrounds it all real nicely, and it's very peppery. This is a nice cigar. You could probably pair this well with coffee. I could probably see it going well with bourbon, straight bourbon. No ice, no water, don't mess it up, straight bourbon. So you can decide for yourself, but it's very, very, very good. I expect the cigar to take several turns, twists, changes, so as it does, I'll come back. But right now, that's where we are. The finish, haven't talked about that, is really like a very sweet, thick vanilla. And even some almond notes. The pepper lingers, which is always good. You can feel it around your palate, on the back of your tongue. So, burn is almost laser perfect. The cigar is very good. That's where we are right now. I'll be back as soon as anything significant happens, and expect that not to be much longer. I would not expect to be much more than 1 inch down the road, about a half inch further than we were in the last segment of the video. And the cigar is taking a turn to very rich, wait for it, orange citrus. Yes, orange citrus, coffee, some leather notes, some vanilla notes, and a lot of pepper. That's where we are. The richness is hard to describe because it's so sweet and rich. You can taste the richness on the draw before you ever. Usually, most of the flavor of a cigar is when you expel the smoke and you taste it on the palate. As soon as you draw it in, you can feel the richness, the sweetness hitting your taste buds. That's big, folks. There is the slightest hint of almond. I would call those lightly roasted almonds, but here within a half inch of the last segment, the cigar is taking a huge turn. So that's where we are now. I'll be back. At this rate, we could be here a long time, but I'm going to let you know what the cigar is about. So hang in there. Anejo 48. Starting out nicely. Well, only another half inch or so. I came back primarily to re-explain some of the flavors of the previous segment. These are still pretty much in line, but the previous segment I described the main flavor as a rich orange citrus. I can stick with that. Also, it could be described as, if I look at it another way, a very sweet, rich, tawny port. Now, in my previous reviews, I've had some cigars described as a rich ruby port. This is more of a tawny. There is a big difference. Very sweet, though. There are still those coffee notes, more distinguishable leather notes, and that all-important surrounding black pepper. The finish is now very thick, rich vanilla, straight out vanilla, and it's very sweet. So that's where we are now. Didn't want to come back and give you a bunch of useless information. That's something you can use if you can imagine those flavors. That's where we are right now. Be back next change. About 2.5 inches remaining, and I have not come back before now because really there have been no significant changes. At this point, the only real change is there are some nice cedar notes. The finish is a little more, has a little more of an almond finish, and it almost is a little bit of a raw almond at this point, but the vanilla notes are still there. The pepper is good until I tell you different. It's always nice on this cigar. I will stick with my last conclusion that these are tawny notes. The extreme richness has subdued somewhat, but it's still pretty much tawny. Port, coffee, leather, and now some cedar. And the cedar is distinguishable. So as you can see, with only about 2.5 inches remaining, I will be back shortly to wrap up the cigar. Get a good look at that band there. And we will score it and see where we stand. But Anejo 48. Very sweet. Moving along nicely. Be right back. Well, down to about not much, maybe an inch. So I'm going to wrap it up. As you remember, I reviewed this cigar back in January of this year, and it's pretty much in line with what I experienced then. It's a very good cigar. A lot of coffee notes, leather, uh, tawny port, which I'm using as a descriptive term in lieu of the rich orange citrus notes. They're very rich notes, and the tawny port is pretty much spot on as far as the way I would describe it. Pepper is great. Finish is one of vanilla. At times only vanilla, and at other times there's some raw almond notes. The cigar is full bodied, but not one that you can't handle. It is full bodied, but not uh, terribly so. In that you could have this with just a little something, just eaten. I wouldn't suggest having it on an empty stomach, but it's a full bodied cigar. Um, all that being said, I will stick with my scoring of the January review. This cigar, it wraps up for me as a 94. Very good cigar. Fuente Anejo, number 48. I would definitely describe as a great cigar and one worth trying. You may find them at your local shops now, but act fast because they won't be around long. So there you have it, the Añejo 48, 94.